All right, let's go. Full screen. All right, Sony. What you got? Dang it, man, I'm so excited. Hate the two Premiere startup thing, but it's whatever. All right. Let's go.
Hi. Unfortunately, we had to cancel the talk that we had planned for GDC. But we do have some super exciting news about PS5.
Well, okay.
And
that was depressing.
to bring that to you,
Depressing
the one
start.
and only Mark
Okay.
Cerney. Without further ado, over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
There will be lots of chances later on this
Okay.
year to look at the PlayStation 5
Okay, recording.
games.
Good.
Today,
Yeah.
I want to talk a bit about our goals for the PlayStation 5 hardware and how they influenced the development of the console. I think you all know I'm a big believer in console
I'm just suggesting
generations.
things,
Once
guys.
every
Sorry.
5 or 6 or 7 years, a console arrives with substantially new capabilities. There's a lot of learning by the game.
This is going to be a big presentation, I guess.
And soon there's games that could
This is probably going to
never
be,
created.
I think, since GDC got canceled,
It used to
this is
be
probably
as
what they were going to
console designer,
be
you'd somehow
doing.
intuit what would be the
And they're
best
just going to
set
go
of
with that format.
capabilities
Okay,
on the
I get it.
console,
I'm fine.
And then build it in complete secrecy. For the PlayStation consoles, that period lasted.
Let me
through
turn this up.
PlayStation
You
3.
probably can't hear
A
him.
powerful and groundbreaking console, but also one that caused quite a lot of heartache, as it was initially difficult to develop games for.
He speaks so quietly.
So, starting with PlayStation 4, we've taken a different approach, roughly centered around 3 principles.
Oh, it's going to be a big PowerPoint
The first
presentation.
of these is listening to the developers, which is to say that a lot of what we put into a console derives directly from the needs
Probably
and
gonna have to cut this up.
aspirations of the game creators. We definitely do
But I-
have some
but I may
ideas of
not.
our
Who
own,
knows?
but at the core of our philosophy for
never know.
designing consoles is that game players are here for the fantastic.
Got a big old
games,
PowerPoint
which is to say
presentation.
that game creators matter. Anything we can do to make life easier for the game creators or help them realize their dreams, we will do. So,
You will
about
do.
once every 2 years, I take a tour of the industry. I go to the various developers and publishers, sit down, and discuss how they're doing with the current consoles and what they'd like to see in future consoles. This requires weeks on the road, as
Look at him
reaching
standing
the bulk
there.
of the game creators involves talking to well over
That
100
man is a
people and
powerful
something like
man.
2
Look at
dozen
him.
publishers and developers. And it is incredibly valuable. By the way, the feature most requested by the developers, that was an SSD,
Yeah.
which we were very happy to put in the hardware,
Yeah.
but a lot of problem solving was required.
Yeah.
I'll be doing a deep dive on the SSD and surrounding systems later on in this talk.
It's a 53-minute
It's
talk,
also
okay.
key to make a generational
gotta-
leap. Well,
got a
keeping
lot
the
to go through
console
here.
Sufficiently familiar to game developers. I think about this.
This
in
is,
terms
I
of
think,
balancing
probably a mistake to do it like
evolution
this.
and revolution.
Because, I mean, yes, they had
Now,
their
with PlayStation 1, 2,
GDC
and 3, the target
being
was a
canceled. They had to do a
revolution each
presentation
time
like
with
this,
a
yes,
brand new
but
feature set. That was
now that
great
the
in many
public's
ways, but
watching,
time for the developers to get up and running.
I
was
don't think
long
doing this
with
format was the
console.
best idea,
In the
but we'll see.
past, I've called this time to triangle. Here's what I had for those 3 consoles. To be clear, I'm not talking about time to make a game. Developers will be ambitious, and it may take them 6 years or so to realize their vision.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is that dead time before graphics and other
Is that
aspects
audience
of the
even
game
real that they had there?
are running and trying to
Did they
move
just like superimpose them?
On the other hand, if we're trying to reduce that dead time to 0, that means the hardware architecture can't change at all. We're handcuffed. We need to judge for each feature what value it adds and whether it's worth the increase in developer time needed to support it. So with PlayStation 4, we
Oh,
were able to
okay.
strike a pretty good balance
We're about to
between
see some
performance and familiarity. We got
PS5.
required learning back to PlayStation 1 levels. With PS5, the GPU was definitely the area we felt the most tension between adding new features and keeping a familiar programming model. Ultimately,
Oh,
I
they
think
did
we ended
see it.
up
Dang
with
it.
something under a month of getting up
Dang,
to
less than a
speed.
month.
That feels like we're striking
Holy
about the
crap.
right balance. I'll go into a bit more detail
crazy.
later today about our philosophy with the GPU and the specific feature set that resulted.
Okay. All right.
It's also very important for us, as the hardware team, to find new dreams, by which I mean something other than
I don't think that
CPU
audience is real,
performance, GPU
honestly.
performance, and the amount of RAM. The increase in graphics performance
funny.
over the past 2 decades has been astonishing, but there are other areas in which we can innovate and provide significant value to the game creators, and through them, the players. That's why the SSD was very much on our list of directions to explore, regardless of what came out of the conversations.
So many people are probably just getting disappointed with this.
The biggest feature in this
Ooh,
category
wait.
is the custom engine for audio. That's today's final topic.
Okay.
The push for
So they're going in
vastly
order
improved
here.
audio, and in particular, 3D audio.
That's something I'm really excited
isn't
for
something that
because
came out of developer meetings. It's
I haven't given
much
too many
more the
just
case
about that,
we
so I'm
had a
really
dream
interested to
of
see
what
what that
might be
whole audio
possible
thing is
5
going to be.
years from now, and then worked out a number of steps we could take to set us on that path. So here again are the 3 principles, the first being enabling the desires of developers to drive the hardware design. To me, the SSD really is the key to the next generation. It's a game changer. And it was the #1 ask from developers for PlayStation 5. As in, we know it's probably impossible, but can you put an SSD in it? That was a discussion we were also having internally. It was clear that the presence of a hard drive in every PlayStation 4 was having a positive impact. A lot of things that would simply have been impossible
I don't
disk speed
think
were now possible.
them
At the
not
same
putting
time,
a
though,
SSD in there would be
and
possible
2016, when
because
we were having these conversations,
just
developers were
things are
already
getting
banging up against the
so
limits
much
of the hard
larger
drive. And
stuff
a
like
lot
that,
of developer time
and they
was
need
being
the extra
spent designing
speed.
around slow load speeds.
And so the
I want to
SSD
focus
was
in on
absolutely
just
necessary,
one number
I think.
here, which is how long it takes to load a gigabyte of data from a hard drive. The difficulty
see.
being that hard drives are neither particularly fast nor flexible. If all your data is in one block, which is frankly not very likely, you can load 50 to 100 megabytes a second, depending on where the data is located on the hard drive. Let's assume it's on the outer edge, which means loading a gigabyte takes 10 seconds. If you compress your game packages, you can fit more data on the Blu-ray disc and also effectively boost your hard drive read speed by the compression ratio. We support zlib decompression on PlayStation 4 that gets you something like 50% more data on the disc and 50% higher effective read speed.
Oh, please.
Unfortunately, though, it's highly likely that your data is scattered around in various files on the hard drive, as well as sourced from multiple locations with those files. So
I'm just trying to
lots
listen,
of
but I'm
seats
just
are needed
so
at 2 to 50
sad that they did it
milliseconds
like
each.
this. This
My
is a
rule of
PowerPoint
thumb is that the
presentation.
hard drive is
They should have
spending
said that.
2/3 of its time seeking, and only a third
Because
of
I
its
think
time
people expected
actually
something
loading
else
data.
because everyone's watching this.
Putting all of that together, a
This
gigabyte
was,
is very roughly 20
not the
seconds
best
to
idea.
load from a hard drive.
I'm
Now,
not seeing the reaction
a
right now,
gigabyte
but
is not much
we'll
data.
see.
Games are using 5 or 6 gigabytes of RAM on PlayStation 4, so boot times and load times can get pretty grim. Or to put that differently, as a player, you wait for the game to boot, wait for the game to load, wait
My
for the
game
level to
player, bro.
reload every time you die, and you wait for what is euphemistically called fast travel. And all of that leads to the dream. What if we could have not just an SSD, but a blind
Holy
if we could load
shit!
5 gigabytes a second from it, what would change? Now, SSDs are completely
Target.
different from hard
Okay,
drives. They
target.
don't have seeks as such. If you have a 5 gigabyte
Holy
a second SSD,
fuck,
you can load
man.
data from 1,000 different locations in a second, pretty much at speed.
That's crazy.
As for time to load a gigabyte, this is next gen we're talking about. So
Shut up,
nothing's
Siri.
bigger. Instead, we should be asking how long to load 2 gigabytes. And the answer is about a quarter of a second. That's amazing. We're talking 2 orders of magnitude, meaning very roughly 100 times faster.
Holy
Which means at 5 gigabytes a second for the SSD, the potential is that the game boots in a second. There are no load screens.
that
The
thing
game
go.
just fades down while loading a half dozen gigabytes and fades back up again. Same for a reload. You're immediately back in the action after you die. And fast travel becomes so fast it's blink and you miss it. As game creators, we go from trying to distract the player
Dang,
from how
bro.
long fast travel is taking, like those Spider-Man subway rides, to being so blindingly fast that we might even have to slow that.
This is gonna be
transition.
crazy.
Pretty cool,
that
right?
SSD,
but
man.
for me, this is not the primary reason to change from a hard drive to an SSD.
Well, let's see
the
why.
primary reason for an ultra-fast SSD is that it gives the game designer freedom.
Yes, it does.
Or to put that differently, with a hard drive, the 20 seconds that it takes to load a gigabyte can sabotage the game that the developer is trying to create.
Yeah,
I think
load times
almost
can be
all of us in the room have
hard.
experienced this, maybe in different ways. Say we're making.
Oh
an
yeah, I've
adventure
definitely
game and we have
experienced this.
2
Me,
rich
game
environments
developer
where
over
we can
here.
find enough
Why do they
texture
do
and
it like
models to
this?
fill memory. Which you can do as long as you have a long staircase,
Why did they do it like
or
this?
elevator ride, or a winding
Wait, they revealed the
corridor where
specs.
you
Okay,
can
hey,
fix
hey, hey,
the old
hey.
assets. and then take 30 seconds or so
On
to
Twitter.
load the new
Hello.
assets. Having a 30-second elevator run
Custom,
is
I
a little extreme. More
828
realistically, we'd
gigabyte.
probably chop the world into a number of smaller
Okay,
pieces.
well,
and then do some
let's go step by step
calculations
here while they're
with sight
trying to go
lines
through
and
this.
run speeds
8
like we did
core
for
Zen
Haven City
2
when we were making
processor at
Jak
3.5
2. The
gigahertz.
game is 20 years
I think that's
old, but
a little
not
bit
much
faster
has
than
changed since then. All those twisty
kind
passages
of
are there for a reason.
the Xbox Series
There's
X.
a whole subset of level design
10
dedicated to this sort of work,
teraflops.
but still, it's a giant
10.28
distraction for a
teraflops.
team that just
That's
wants
pretty good.
to make their game.
36
So
compute
when I
units with
talked about the
2.23
dream
gigahertz.
of
That's a
an
pretty
SSD,
good
part of the
GPU right
reason
there.
for that 5 gigabyte a second target was to
GPU
eliminate
custom
loads,
RDNA
but also
2,
part of the reason
same
for
as
that
the
target
Xbox Series
streaming.
X.
As in, what if the
16
SSD
gigs
is
of
so fast that
RAM,
as the player is
GDDR6 RAM. I
turning
think
back,
that's the exact
it's
same
possible to
on
load
the
textures for everything
Xbox Series
behind
X.
the
It's
player in that
looking like the
split
exact same.
If you figure that it
Processor
takes
speed
half a second to
it's
turn,
a
that's
little bit
4
faster
gigabytes of
on
compressed data
PS5
you can load.
and the
That sounds
SSD,
about
obviously.
right for
Memory
most things.
bandwidth 448 gigabytes per
Back to the hard
second.
drive.
Yeah.
Another strategy for increasing effective read speed is to make big
Throughput.
sequential
Yeah, they
chunks
talked
of
about
data.
that.
For example, we might
SSD thing,
group all the
expandable
data
storage,
together for each city block.
NVMe
That removes
SSD
most of the
slot.
seats,
Okay.
and the
So
streaming
custom
gets
thing for
faster.
that too.
But there's a downside too, which is that
USB
frequently used data is included in many chunks
HD
and
support.
therefore is on the
Okay.
hard drive many.
So they do support external hard.
Marvel's Spider-Man
hard
uses
drive.
this strategy, and though it works very well for increasing the streaming speed, there's a massive
So-
duplication as a result. Some of the objects
So I
like
wonder how they're gonna
mailboxes
do
or
that though,
news racks are
because
on the
they're
hard
making a
drive
big deal
400
out of this, like,
What I'm describing here are things that
expandable
cramp a
storage
creative director's thought.
thing.
Either level design gets a little bit boring in places,
But they have
or
external
the data
storage
is
too with
duplicated
regular
so many
HDD.
times
So
that
I
it no
think
longer fits on the Blu-ray
but you
disc.
can't do the
And you end up
instantaneous
with
loading
hard
thing.
limits on the player's run speed or driving speed.
All
The
that
player
kind of
can't
stuff.
go faster than the
Hold
load
on a
speed
second.
from the hard drive.
Nor's
And finally, I'm sure
calling me
many
up.
of you have noticed that after a patch download, the PlayStation 4 will sometimes
Sup,
take
man?
a long time to install the patch. That's
What
because
up,
we're
man?
just
Okay.
part of a
So
file
what do you think about it so
system.
far?
The new data can be downloaded pretty quickly.
I gotta say, I was kind of hoping that they'd show the console, but what they're talking about with the amount of gigabytes that can be loaded in an instant is pretty
Oh
impressive.
yeah, exactly.
They start to hit
But
once they get
them doing the
With an
GDC
SSD,
presentation
though,
style
no
is
seats.
a bad
So
idea
no
for
need
this.
to make
They
brand
did
new
a mistake
files
for
with the
that.
changes incorporated into them,
Because
which
I think a lot of
means
people expected
no
something else.
installs as
You know what I
know
mean?
them today.
Yeah, I
There's
think a lot
yet
of people were
one more
expecting them
benefit,
to
which is
show
that
off like
system
the
memory can be
controller or
used
the
much more.
console.
I think that-
and they already said that they're
On
canceling
PlayStation
showing
4,
some
the
games.
game data on
They,
the hard drive feels
were they
very
gonna show some
distant
games? Did
and
they say that?
difficult to use. By the
Yeah, they
time
said
you
that like
realize
right
you
at the
need
beginning.
these
Okay.
data, it's much
They
too late
revealed the
to go
exact
out
specs
and
of it though, if
so
you want to see
system
that.
memory has to contain all of the data that could be used.
It's
in the
on
next
Like
30
vis-
seconds or
like
so.
visually?
There's a chart
That
that
means a
Nibble
lot of
tweeted
the 8
out
gigabytes
with
of
the
system
specs on it.
memory is idle. It's just
Oh
waiting
shoot!
there
Can you send that?
Sure. Hold on.
potentially used. On PlayStation 5, though, the SSD is very close to being like a RAM. Typically,
It's like
fast enough to
exactly
realize you
the
need a
same
SSD.
as
You can
the
just
Xbox
load
Series
it from the
X, like
SSD and
exact
use
same.
it. There's no need to have lots of data parked in
Hold
system
on.
memory waiting
Crap.
to
Yeah.
potentially be used.
You mean the
A
big
different
black
way
box?
of
Yeah, the
saying
big
that
black
is
box,
that
the fridge.
most
There you
of
go.
RAM is working on the game's behalf. This is one of the reasons that 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 feels right. for
Xbox
PlayStation
has
5. The
16
presence of the
gigs of
SSD
GDDR6.
reduces the need for a massive
Has the
intergenerational
exact same
input
processor and stuff
inside.
like that.
So,
but
back to
PS5
the
is slightly
dream of
faster,
the
I think.
SSD. Here's the set of targets. Boot the game in a second.
And they got the SSD, obviously, but
No load
aside
screens.
from that, it's the exact same.
Design freedom, meaning no twisted
Yeah, but
passages. or
825
long corridors.
gigabytes is nowhere
More game
near.
Yeah,
enough.
that's my
on the
big issue right
SSD.
there. That's what I
And finally,
knew they were gonna
those
fuck up on.
patch installs go away.
Like,
The reality,
Because
though,
the
is that
the 500 gigs only
SSD is
lasted
just
me
one
like
piece of the
a
puzzle.
year,
There's
and then
Yeah.
I got a 2 terabyte hard drive for Christmas, and that lasted me to now.
yeah, like, and why
You can
so
see this on
specific?
PlayStation 4. If I
825.
use an SSD
Why so
with 10
specific?
times the speed of a standard hard drive,
I don't know. I don't
probably
get that.
see only double the
weird.
loading speed, if that.
2 terabyte hard
PlayStation
drives are
5,
not that
our goal was
expensive.
not just
Like, I
the
think-
SSD itself being
Okay,
100
I
times
think I know
faster.
what they might be
It
doing
was
here.
that
They're trying to
game
sell their own
loads and
custom stuff.
streaming would be 100 times faster. So
They're trying to sell
every
their own
single
SSDs
potential
here.
bottleneck needed to be addressed.
If they do,
And
then
there
they're
are a
almost as
lot.
evil as Disney.
Oh god.
Let's
Well, they
look at
said
tech.
here
What
that
happens when its overhead gets 100
expandable
times
storage
larger?
NVMe SSD
Conceptually,
slot,
check-in
so they
is
are selling their
pretty
own.
simple process. Data is loaded into system memory from the
Also,
hard drive.
also the same thing as Xbox. So
A few values are tweaked to check it in, and then it's
Yeah, but
moved to its final
Xbox is
location.
connected to
But the
Microsoft,
SSD
and they
seems we're
already
talking
have
about,
so
that
much
last
hardware that
part,
you can attach
moving
to
the
that.
data,
So
meaning
it's like
copying it from one location to
that's already established.
Yeah.
actually an entire
But you can put an
new
external
system.
hard drive on a
And
regular
that's just
one.
the tip of
I'm
the
surprised by
iceberg.
that.
If all the overheads get 100 times
Because I
larger,
thought with this
that
whole
will
SSD
cripple the frame
technology,
rate
they
as soon as the player
discouraged that,
moves
but apparently
and
not.
that massive stream of data starts
Mm-hmm.
coming off the SSD. So to solve all of that, we built a lot of custom hardware, namely a custom flash controller and a number of custom units in our main chip.
But I mean, like,
The flash controller
That
in the
SSD,
was
dang, man,
designed
5
for
gigs a
smooth and
second?
bottleneck-free operation, but
That's
also
insane.
with games in mind. For example, there are 6
Yeah,
levels
especially
of
when you think about
priority when
like
reading from
Kingdom
the
Hearts 3 and how it
Priority
takes some
is
time to
very
load some of the
important. You can
assets if
imagine
you just
the player
appear
heading
somewhere
into
out of
some
nowhere.
new
sometimes like
location
that.
in the world
Yeah.
in the game, requesting a few gigabytes. Of
maybe
text.
like
and while
Red
those
Dead
textures
Redemption
are being
2.
loaded,
That's I don't know.
an
I'm thinking
enemy
that
is
specifically,
shot
but
and has to
man,
speak a few dying
that could be
words.
like insane
Having
on
multiple
here.
priority levels lets the audio for those dying words.
I haven't
get
played
loaded
Red Dead 2,
immediately.
but
The environment.
I hear a lot of good things about
Yeah, there's
it.
a.
On one side,
I
that
think
flash
it's
controller connects
not
to the
really a
actual
lot of
flash
loading
drives
in
that
it, but
supplies
it's
the
like
storage. To reach our
there should be
bandwidth
like no
target of
loading at
5
all with
gigabytes
that.
a
That's
second,
crazy.
We ended up with a 12-channel interface.
Load times will be
8 channels
non-existent
would
with
be
these
enough.
PS4 games.
Resulting
PS5.
bandwidth we have achieved is
Yeah.
actually 5.
That's what.
I don't know.
With the
Eventually, the
12-channel
PS5
interface,
games will
the
just
most
like have
natural
too
size
much.
that emerges
Yeah.
for an SSD is 825 gigabytes.
Why?
The key question for us was, is that enough?
No, it's not.
It's tempting to add
No,
more,
it's
but
about to
that
say,
certainly
no,
doesn't
it's not
function.
enough.
And we have a responsibility to our gaming audience to be cost effective with regards to what we put in the console.
I don't even think the audience he's
Ultimately,
talking
we
to is
resolved
real.
this question by looking at the play
Have you looked at
patterns
him?
of a broad range of gamers.
Wait,
We
what?
The
examined
audience he's speaking to,
specific
I don't even
games
think
that
they're
they were
real.
playing over the course
They're just
of a
composited in.
weekend or a week or a month.
You think they're
and
just like
whether that
random
set
silhouettes,
of
like a
games
backdrop?
would
They
fit
just
properly
put
No,
it.
they just put like a
we were able
GIF
to establish
and just
that the
put him
friction
talking on
caused
an
by
empty stage.
reinstalls or re-downloads would be quite low. And
Yeah,
so we
'cause he
locked
said no
in
groups
on
more
that
than 10
825
people.
For real.
gigabyte size,
I mean, they only
while
showed 5
also
people there, so I
preparing
don't know.
multiple strategies so that those who want more storage can add it. I'll go through the details. in a
So he
moment.
just pretty much said
Actually,
there. So
Back
yeah,
to the
run out of
flash
storage,
controller.
buy our
On
shit.
the other side, it connects to our main custom chip via 4 lanes
Actually,
of
laugh when I
Gen
think
4
about that. No groups
PCIe.
bigger than 10 people,
And
because like
inside the main
the
custom chip
football
is a
player Philip
pretty
Rivers,
hefty
he
unit
has like
dedicated to
11
I/O.
kids or 10 kids.
Before we talk about what that
Well,
does, let's talk
You know, that's
compression.
the
for
key
a moment.
situation there.
PlayStation
he's
4
like,
used
a
Z-Lib
couple of
as
you little
compression.
kids gotta
Yep.
go.
We decided to
Kraken.
use it again on PlayStation 5, but on my
The heck?
2017 tour of
The
developers,
Kraken.
I learned about a new format called Kraken from Rad Game Tools. It's like
Rad.
Z-Lib's
Rad
smarter
cool.
cousin. Simple, similar types
So
of
rad.
algorithms, but about
Totally tubular.
10% better compression, which is pretty big. That means 10% more
Tubular.
game on the
I don't-
UHD Blu-ray disc or on the SSD. Kraken had only been out for a year.
Why
but it was already becoming a de
825?
facto industry standard. Half of the
I didn't
teams
even hear
talked
what
to
he
were
said
either
because he
using
talks
it
so
or getting
quiet.
ready to evaluate it. So we hustled and built a custom decompressor.
Yeah, and
into
it's
the
like
IO
with the
unit, one
PlayStation
capable of
hardware,
handling
you
over
can attach
5
basically
gigabytes
any
of
hard
Kraken
drive that would
format
fit.
Yeah.
data
So you don't
per
even
second.
need to buy a Sony
After
product,
decompression,
and I can
that
find a
typically
2
becomes
terabyte
8 or
hard
9
drive that's
gigabytes,
really
but the
cheap.
unit
They said they
itself
can
is
allow
capable
external
of
hard drives,
outputting
but
as
I
much
think they're going to
as
highly discourage
22
it
gigabytes
because
a second
it's not going to
if
fit
the
with the
data happens to
technology. So I don't
compress
even know why they did it
particularly
in the
well.
first place, honestly.
By the way, in terms of
If they wanna
performance,
do that whole
that
thing with
custom
it, but I guess
decompressor
that's nice of
equates
them,
to
I
9
guess.
of our
They're
Zen
trying to
GPUs.
be as
That's
evil
what it
as
would take
Disney,
to
but it's
decompress
not
the
working
Kraken's
for them.
I think they.
conventional
I think my fear.
There's a lot
I'm
more
afraid they
custom
got too much
IO,
hubris again.
including a dedicated
And now they're
gonna
gonna do all the
controller. game
mistakes
can
that they did
direct
last time.
exactly where it wants to
You
send
mean
the
like with
data
the
coming off
PS3?
of the SSD.
Because,
This equates to a
but I,
negative
I
Zen
That was
2
not-
it won't-
or
that was
2
not a
in
good
terms of its
I mean,
top
developer
performance.
in
Its
developing
primary
for it, I
purpose
think
is
that's
to
going to be
remove
fine.
check-in
That's not
as
going to be a
bottleneck.
problem. But
There's 2
consumer-wise,
dedicated IO
I'm not
coprocessors
too
and a
sure
large
because
RAM pool.
getting
These aren't
really
Zen 2
weird
cores.
vibes.
They're there
from
principally to
all
direct
this,
the
you know what
variety
I mean?
of custom hardware around
Mm-hmm.
it. One of the coprocessors is dedicated to SSD I/O. This lets us bypass traditional
we got a
file
custom
IO and
CPU
its
here, okay.
bottlenecks when reading from the SSD. The other is responsible for memory mapping, which I know doesn't sound like anything related to the SSD,
Okay.
but a lot of developers map and remap memory as part of file I/O, and this
sort of
too
similar
can
to
become
Xbox
a
One
bottleneck.
with that.
There are coherency engines to assist the coprocessors. Coherency comes up
To
a
be
lot
honest,
in
this thing's
places, probably
kind of a
the
snore
biggest
fest.
I don't know
coherency
why
issue
they
is
did it
stale
like this.
data
They
in the
knew what
GPU
they
caches.
knew
Flushing
this
all of the
was
GPU caches
bad
whenever
to do
the
this on
SSD is
YouTube.
read is
and hype it
an
up like this.
unattractive option.
They knew.
It could
This could have
really
been
hurt the
a
GPU
good
performance.
PlayStation
So
Direct.
we've
Exactly.
implemented a gentler way of doing
We're
this.
talking about
Where
coherency engines
engines
here,
inform
man.
the GPU of the
Fucking
overwritten
coherency
address
engines.
ranges
I'm so hyped.
and custom scrubbers.
Like,
in
you don't need to
several
tell
dozen
us
GPU
how the
caches
console
to pinpoint
works.
evictions
Just
of
give us the
those.
console.
I mean, I'm a tech guy, so I'm
The
sort of
best thing
interested
is,
in
as
it,
a game
but I know
developer, when you
everyone
read
else
from the
is
SSD,
not.
You don't need to know any of this. You don't even need to know that your data is complete.
Yeah, we don't need to know any
You
of
just
this. I want to.
indicate
Yeah, we
the
don't
data
need
you'd
to
like to
know.
read from your original
Oh, they
uncompressed file
fucked up. They
and where you'd
fucked
like to
up.
put it.
Oh
And
no,
the whole
why did you do
process of
this?
loading
Why
it
did you do this?
happens invisibly to you. and
What?
Why did they do it
Hold on,
like
what?
this?
Back to the dream. Thanks
It's
to all
53
that
minutes
surrounding
of this.
hardware, our 5.5 gigabytes a second really should translate into something
Right.
like
No
100
way
times
is this
faster
guy
I/O
just going to
for
be
PS4
up here for
and allow the dream
straight
of
up
no
hour.
notes
He is.
and
You know what?
He
super
is.
fast
Those
streaming
do look
become
like
a
fake
reality.
audience members.
yeah.
Having said that,
Because I've only seen the
expandability of
guy
the
like on the
SSD is going to be
very
quite
like left edge,
costly.
like move his
Flash
head,
is
and that's it.
costly, and you may very well want to add storage to whatever we put in the console.
Or at the very
Now,
least, they're
the
actors.
kind of storage you need depends on how you're going to use it. If you
It's
Okay,
literally just like
expensive
those.
PlayStation
Okay, I saw that guy
library
move.
and
Okay.
you'd like to take
Okay,
advantage of
let's see
backwards
here.
compatibility to play those
Oh,
games
I
on
see.
PlayStation 5,
Well,
then a large external hard drive is ideal.
okay.
They're sitting at a
can
table.
Leave your games on the hard drive
I can
and
see
play them
that.
directly from there, thus saving the pricier
Okay.
SSD storage for your PlayStation 5 titles. Or you can copy your active PlayStation 4
Oh,
titles
okay.
to the
You
SSD.
money-grubbing
If your purpose is adding
bastard.
more
They
storage is to
they
play
couldn't even put the
PlayStation 5
PS4
titles,
games
though,
on the
ideally you
SSD.
would add
Well, you
your
can.
SSD storage.
Well, then why
We will be
get external
supporting certain
HDD then?
M2 SSDs. These are internal
There's
drives
no
that you can
point.
get on the open market and install in a bay in the PlayStation 5.
How much do you think it's going to
As
cost?
for
I
which ones
say
we support and when,
Did you
I'll
see
get
what
to
they
that
did
in
with
a
the
moment.
PS Vita memory cards?
They
8
connect
gigabytes
through
was
the
literally
custom
$20,
IO unit,
$30,
just like
something like that.
Our SSD does. So they
So-
can take full advantage
So
of
I-
decompression,
I own a
IO
PS Vita.
coprocessors,
That was
and
not
all
a
the
fun
other
So I-
time trying to get a new
So
memory.
I say 500
Here's the
gigabytes,
catch,
very
though.
least
That
$100.
commercial drive has
Or
to be
150.
at least as fast as ours. Games that rely on the speed of our
How much do you think
SSD
the
need to
console
work
is gonna cost?
flawlessly
I
with
say
an M2 drive.
with what they're going
When I
with
gave
here,
the
I say
Wired
500.
interview last year, I said that the PlayStation 5 SSD
500 to
is
600 sounds like a
faster than
good
anything
guess.
available
I
on
think
PC.
they're okay.
At the time, commercial M2
I mean, I
drives
like that
used
they're focusing on the
PCIe
specs and
3.0,
making these new
and 4
consoles like
lanes of that
beefy and like they
cap
were
out
last
at
time, but
2.5 gigabytes
that comes
a
at the
second.
sacrifice
In
of
other words, no
price.
PCIe
That's a little too
3.0
much.
drive can hit the required
that may be a
spec.
little bit too much at this point.
M2 drives with
Yeah.
PCIe 4.0 are now out in the market. We're getting our samples and seeing 4 or 5
I mean, they're just
gigabytes a
jerking
second.
themselves off with this
By year's
SSD
end,
here. It's
I
crazy.
expect there will be drives that saturate 4.0 and support 7 gigabytes a second. Having
You know
said
what?
that,
If they want
we
to
are
spend so much
comparing
time talking
apples
about
and
this,
oranges
I
because
swear,
that
the
commercial
next
M2
numbered
drive will
Kingdom Hearts
have
games, so
its own
Kingdom Hearts
architecture,
4
its own
better
flash
be
controller, and
the
so on.
best
For example,
game,
the NVMe
hardware-wise.
Yeah, they're gonna do ray
lays
tracing
out
in
a
it. I
priority
think.
scheme
I
for
would
requests
see
that the
them
M2
doing that
drives
because
can
Disney
use.
movies do
And
that all the
scheme
time.
is pretty
So
nice, but it
I think
only
that's a
has
natural
2
next step.
True priority levels. Our drive supports 6. We can hook up a drive with only 2 priority levels, definitely, but our custom I/O unit has to arbitrate the extra priority.
Oh, I guess that's what it's gonna
rather
look
than
like.
the M2 drive's flash controller, and so
It's gonna look like
M2
a-
The hard drive?
Yeah,
little
it
extra
looks like a
speed to take
Blockbuster
care of
logo there.
issues arising from the different approach.
Like
That
an old
commercial
movie
drive
Yeah,
also
that's what I'm
needs to
saying.
physically fit inside of the bay we created in PlayStation.
Well, can we
5
see
for
it?
M2 drives.
That'd be nice if we could
Unlike
see it.
internal hard drives,
Yeah,
there's
show us the
unfortunately
console.
no standard for the height of an M2 drive, and some M2 drives have giant heat sinks. In fact, some of them even
It's
have
like
their
they've
own
literally
fan.
refrained from talking about the
Right now,
PlayStation
we're
5
getting M2
or
drive
showing it
samples
off for
and
almost a
benchmarking
year.
them in various
You would think
ways.
that they would have something
When
to show.
games hit beta as
Yeah.
they get ready for the PlayStation 5 launch at year end, we'll also be doing some compatibility testing to make sure that the architecture of
They know that
particular
regular
M2
people are
drives
watching
isn't
this,
too
right?
foreign for the games
They
to
have to
handle.
know.
Once we've
Yes,
done that
yes,
compatibility
they
testing,
tweeted
we
it
should
out
be
to
able
the
start
open
letting
public.
you know which
So-
drives will physically fit and which drive samples have
I
benchmarked
don't
appropriately
get it.
high
Okay.
in our testing. It would be great if that happened by launch.
I mean,
but
I
it's
guess
likely to
people could be
a
interested in
bit
the
past
specs,
it.
but
So please
they want to
hold
see
off
it.
on getting
Can
that
we
M2
see it?
drive
But
until
I
you
would
hear
like
it.
to
They should know the main
Okay,
audience just
back
wants
to our
to
principle.
see
Balancing
something
evolution and
interesting.
Okay,
revolution is
maybe
the
we'll get
second
something
one.
here.
This was definitely a recurring theme with the GPU. We need new GPU features and capabilities. If we only have more performance, it's not really a new generation of console. Of course, Many of these capabilities result in more performance. That's part of why a PlayStation 5 teraflop is more powerful than a PlayStation 4 teraflop. But we aren't just looking for the performance. We also need the ability to do something with the GPU.
PlayStation VR will be able to play on the PS5, right?
What?
And
I would
need
assume
higher
so, because
performance for
PS4
what?
games can are
Every time we
compatible. I would
double the
assume so.
performance of some
I don't see why
GPU
not.
component, we don't want to find out we've doubled the power consumed and the heat produced.
I wonder why they stopped
But
doing
at the
backwards
same time, we have
compatibility
to
after
make sure the
PlayStation
GPU
2.
can run
Because
PS4 games,
PS3
and we have to ensure that
PS3
the
was
architecture is easy
PS2
for
backwards
the
compatible
developers to
because
adopt.
they had it on
Now,
a chip,
backwards
but rest
compatibility
of
was handled
but later
masterfully
models
by
didn't have
AMD.
that.
They
And
treated
PS3
it as a
obviously they couldn't
key
do that,
need
but
throughout the design process.
won't-
As our solution to adding
but
new
I guess we
features
can do it
without
now with
blindsiding
PS5. So
developers,
hey,
we
there
made
you
sure
go.
that if there were new significant features, it would be optional to use them. The GPU supports ray tracing, but you don't have
Is
to
this
use
gonna
ray
be on the
tracing to make
test?
your game. The GPU supports primitive shaders.
Is this gonna
which you
be
can
on the
release your
test?
first game on PlayStation 5
Whoever gets a perfect
without
score on the
making
test gets a
any
free
changes.
PS5.
Before
I
I
would
get
try
into
to
the
do that.
capabilities
I would
of the
fail that.
GPU,
I would
I'd like
take
to
I would
make
take the,
clear two
even though
points to
I'd
be
probably
quite
fail, I'd still
consistent.
take it. I got to shoot my shot.
First,
It sounds
we
like
have
we're in
a
a college
custom
lecture right now,
AMD
that's what I'm saying.
GPU based on their
my
RDNA 2
God.
technology. What does that mean? AMD is continuously improving and revising their tech. For RDNA 2, their goals were, roughly speaking, to reduce power consumption by re-architecting
Nice
the GPU
product
to put
placement
data
there.
close to where it's needed, to optimize the GPU for performance, and to add a new, more
We also
advanced
I
have
hope they don't
bio
make the same-
laptops.
I hope,
But that
I hope they don't
feature
make the
set
same
is
mistake with the
malleable,
PS5 that they
which is
did
to
with the
say we have
PS3
our
because
own
the
needs for
PS4's
PlayStation,
success
and that can
wasn't
factor
as
into
substantial
what
as the
the
PS2
AMD
success, so they
roadmap
shouldn't have
becomes.
too much of a
So,
swollen head.
collaboration
They're not
is
going to make
born.
the mistake
If we
in terms
bring
of
concepts to
architecture.
AMD
They're going to
that
make the
are
mistake in
felt to be
terms of
widely useful,
consumer
then they can be
friendliness.
adopted into RDNA 2
That's clearly
and
what they're
used
seemingly
broadly,
doing here.
including in
They
PC
didn't.
GPUs.
They're not stating
If
how
the
much it's going to
ideas
cost
are
and stuff like that
sufficiently
here, but
specific
we'll
to
definitely
what
get
we were
that
trying to
soon.
accomplish, like the
I'm
GPU
talking
cache
specifically like the
scrubbers I
expandable
was talking about, then they end up
SSD
being
because I
just
think that's going to be a
fluff.
big deal.
If you see a similar
I
discrete
said this months
GPU
ago,
available as a PC
and
card
I knew it
at
was gonna
roughly
happen,
the
and
same time
yeah.
as we release our console, that means our collaboration with AMD
Sir Skyward said that they should update the
in producing
PlayStation
technology
VR
useful
so
in
that
both
it's
worlds.
wireless
It doesn't mean
because
that we
there are
as
just
Sony
way too many
simply
wires
incorporated the
that needs
PC
to be
part
put in
into our console.
to use the
This
PS.
I mean, we
continuous
definitely gotta
improvement
find
in
out about
AMD
it here, you know,
technology
man,
means
but-
it's dangerous to rely on teraflops as an absolute indicator of performance, and CU count should be avoided as well.
Also, give us
In the
like
case of
for the
CPUs,
move
we
controllers,
all
give us something
understand
that's like
I love
like
PlayStation
5
4
fingers
and
or something like
PlayStation
that.
5
You know,
each
to
have
make
different
it a bit more
CPUs, but
immersive.
you never think that meant the
I
capabilities
love this
and
diagram. It
performance
says
were equal.
PS5 is
It's
not
the same for
PS4. Oh
CUs.
my
For
god.
one thing, they've been getting much larger
Are you
over
kidding
time.
me?
Adding new features
No.
means adding lots of transistors.
No
In
way.
fact, the transistor count for a PlayStation 5 CU
Ooh, let's see.
is 62% larger than the transistor count
Ooh,
for a PlayStation
that's
4
actually pretty nice.
CU.
The
Second,
specs are
the
nice,
PlayStation 5 GPU is
but how is it going to
backwards
translate
compatible with
into
PlayStation 4. What does that mean?
games?
One way you can achieve backwards compatibility is to put the previous console.
Oh, they're gonna put it on chip?
in the new console, like we did
Wait.
with some PlayStation
Oh,
3s.
okay. No,
But
this
that's
is
of course
PS3 diagram,
extremely
okay.
expensive. A better way is to incorporate any differences in the previous console's logic into the new console's custom chips, meaning that even as the technology evolves, the logic and feature sets
I don't see a
that
PS3
PlayStation
logo there.
4 and PlayStation 4 Pro titles rely
Yeah,
on
it's-
is still
where is
available
it?
in backwards
They got space right there.
compatibility
They can put it
modes.
there.
One advantage of this strategy is that once backwards compatibility is in the console, it's in.
It's in.
It's not as if a cost down will
Well, I think that's
remove backwards
because it's the
compatibility
same
like it did on
architecture,
PlayStation
kind
3.
of. So.
Achieving
Aw,
this
man, no.
unification of functionality took years.
Come
of
on.
effort to achieve.
They
And any
teased us. They had
roadmap
that little
advancement
space right there. They
creates
could
a
have put it there.
potential
They did.
divergence in logic. Running PS4 and PS4 titles at boosted frequencies has also added complexity. The boost is truly massive this time around, and some game code just can't handle it. Testing has
I'm gonna
to be
try my
done
best to give
on
them a
title
chance.
by title basis.
I'm gonna be patient.
Results are excellent.
I mean, I know I'm gonna
We
buy
recently
it.
took a look at the top 100 PlayStation
I'm
4
broke right
titles
now,
as
so I don't
ranked
know if
by
I can
Playtime,
afford it
and
right
we're
now, but
expecting
we'll see.
almost all of them to be playable at launch on PlayStation 5.
I just need to know how much it'll cost
With
now, so I
regards
know
to new
exactly
features,
how
as I
much to
said,
save.
Our
Yeah.
strategy was to try to break new ground, but at the same time not to.
Speaking of school, we
require
got
use of the
geometry
new
over
GPU
here, all right.
capabilities. For more than
This
a
really
That guy's
decade,
picking his
GPUs
nose, he
have
should be doing
imposed a
that.
restriction on game engines. Software
he's
handles
rubbing his
vertex
eyes, never mind.
processing, but for the most part, dedicated hardware is
fam.
responsible
You're good, fam.
for the triangles and other geometry that the vertices form.
Yo, when I thought
That
they were
means
actually just
it's
like
not
cardboard
possible to
cutouts,
do
something
even
like that, I
basic
was legit about to
optimizations,
start
such
dying
as
of laughter.
aborting
Me too.
processing of a vertex if all geometry that
I don't
uses
think
it
that
is
girl on the
off-screen.
right has moved a single inch.
PlayStation 5
No,
has
she
a
has,
new
because
unit
initially,
called the
like,
geometry
you couldn't
engine,
see,
which
like,
brings
through her
handling
hair.
of
Okay. Oh, no,
triangles
she
and
moved there,
other
she is.
primitives under
Yeah.
full programmatic control.
It sucks that we're
As a
focusing
game
on the
developer,
people
you're
instead
free
of
to
the actual
ignore its
things being
existence
talked
and
about.
use the PlayStation 5
Because
GPU
that's
as
more
if it were the
interesting.
only
The
capable
things they're talking
core
about.
GPU, or you can use this new intelligence in various ways.
At least show off
Simple
the controller.
usage could be
That's what they did with the
performance
PS4.
optimization, such
They
as
only showed off the
removing
controller,
backface
and that
with
was
off-screen
fine
vertices
with me.
and triangles.
But at
More
least they
complex usage
had
involves
the
something called
press there
primitive
and made it
shaders, which allow the game
interesting.
to synthesize geometry on the fly as it's being rendered. It's a brand new capability. Using primitive shaders on PlayStation 5 will allow for a broad variety
Basic.
of techniques,
Primitive.
including smoothly varying level of detail,
Basic-ass shaders.
addition of procedural detail to close-up objects,
Literally
and
every
improvements to
company
particle
has new
effects and other
shaders.
visual special effects. Another major new
Oh,
feature
look
of
at
our
that.
custom RDNA 2
This is actual
GPU
PS5 graphics
is ray
here?
tracing, using the same strategy as
I almost said
AMD's
ray
upcoming
chasing.
PC
Ray
GPUs.
chasing.
The CUs contain a new specialized
Ray's
unit
gonna get
called
it.
the intersection engine, which can calculate the intersection of rays with boxes and triangles. To use the intersection engine, first you build what is called an acceleration structure. It's data in RAM that contains all of your geometry. There's a specific set of formats you can use. They're
the
variations
fuck
on
does
the
that
same
mean?
VBH concept. Then, in your shader program,
English,
you
please.
use a new instruction that asks the
I
intersection
don't
engine
speak
to check
nerd.
rate
How long is this
against
one
the
going on?
VBH. While the
might
intersection
as well go
engine
on
is
Twitter.
processing the requested
See what
ray
people are saying.
triangle or ray box intersections, the shaders are free to do other work.
Yeah, we'll just keep
Having
it
said
open.
that, the ray
Oh,
tracing
and,
instruction is pretty
Someone
memory
said
intensive,
same
so
energy
it's
and
a
they
good
put
mix with large
Mystery
data.
Science Theater 3000.
There's of course no need to use ray tracing. PS4 graphics engines will run just fine on PlayStation 5. But it presents
This
an
online class
opportunity
wild.
for those
Like
interested.
I know classes were
thinking
canceled
it'll
and now
take
they're all
less than
shifting to
Yeah.
online,
rays
but
a
you didn't have to
second
make
to
this
have
an
a
online
Yeah,
course.
they delayed mine a
Naturally enough
week.
for audio
I didn't-
occlusion
Is there-
and
is there a
some reverb
textbook or,
calculations. With a bit more of the GPU invested in ray
Mark
tracing,
Sony
it should be
out here
possible
about to
do
drop
some
the
very nice
Knack 3.
global
I would be
illumination.
so happy if you did.
Having said that,
Can it-
adding
I would
ray
be happy if we
traced
got
shadows and
that
reflections
just
to a
one game.
traditional graphics
Just one
engine
game,
could
okay?
easily take hundreds
I'll
of
take
millions
one
of
game.
rays a second, and full ray
If it's a
tracing could
split
just
second of a game,
how
I'm
far
fine.
can we go? I'm starting to get quite bullish. I've already seen a PlayStation 5 title that's successfully using ray
Well, can we
Very
see
much.
it?
in complex animated scenes
Very
with
Rex.
only modest cost.
Knack 3.
Another set of issues for the GPU.
Oh my God,
involves
yes.
size
Is it
and
Knack
frequency.
3 perhaps?
How big do we make
Mark
the GPU,
Cerny,
and what
Jack
frequency
4.
do we run
I
it at?
say Knack.
This is a balancing act. The chip has a cost, and there's a cost for whatever we use to supply that
seriously,
chip
who's
with power
constantly trying to
and
call
cool
me?
it. In general, I like running the GPU at higher frequency. Let me show you why.
Oh.
Here
it's
are
another
two
diagram.
possible configurations for a GPU roughly of the level of the PlayStation 4 Pro. This is a
Oh,
thought
here's
experiment. Don't
something.
take these
Crash
configurations
Bash
too
remake.
seriously.
Is
If
that
you
something?
just calculate
Like for real?
teraflops, you get the same number.
No, no,
Okay.
But
no.
actually,
I haven't heard
performance
anything about
is
them remaking
noticeably
Crash
different
Bash, but
because teraflops
that was
is
like
defined as the
my
computational
favorite game on the
capability of
original
the vector.
PlayStation.
That's
I
just one
saw
part of the
Cat
GPU.
Icarus's video
There
on
are
that. He
a
said
lot
it
of other
sucked, but
units.
whatever.
And those other units
It's
all
it's
run faster when the
basically
GPU
Mario
efficiency is
Party
higher.
but with Crash characters.
At
Yeah, I
33%
understand
higher
that.
frequency, authorization
Oh,
goes
dude,
33%
Shofu
faster.
bit the best
Processing
tweet.
the command buffer goes that much
Dude,
faster.
like
The
me,
L2
my brother, my dad would just play it all the
caches
time.
Shut
will
the
have
fuck
much
up.
higher bandwidth, and so on.
God damn.
About the only downside is that system memory is 33% further away in terms of cycles. But the large number of benefits more than counterbalance that. As a friend of mine said,
His voice
"A
is so
rising
soft, it's
tide
actually
lifts
irritating
all
me."
boats." Also, it's
You know what?
easier
He
to
sounds
still
like
use
what Matt
36
Pat will be when
CUs
he's
in
50.
parallel
That's what
than
he
it is to
sounds
still
like.
use 48 CUs.
He
The
does.
triangles
That's
are
what
small.
he looks
It's
like,
much
it
harder
sounds
to
like.
fill all those CUs
I
with
just now
useful
noticed
work.
that.
So there's a lot to be said for faster, assuming you can handle the resulting power.
This
and
is where
heat
Matt Pat will
issues,
be in 50
which,
years.
Frankly, we haven't.
He even
always
looks
done
like an
the
older
best
Matt
job
That's
at.
what I'm saying. He
Part of
sounds
the
and
reason
looks
for
exactly
that
like him.
is, historically, our process for setting CPU and GPU frequencies has relied on some heavy-duty guesswork with regards to how much electrical power games will consume and how much heat will be produced as a result inside of the console. power consumption varies a lot from game to game. When I play
PS5
God of
have
War on
asthma?
my PS4 Pro, I know the power consumption is high just by the fan
Why do we
noise.
have a
But power
Biohazard
isn't simply
logo right
about
there?
engine quality. It's about the minutiae
what
of
is
what's
that
being
supposed to be?
Is the
displayed.
coronavirus compatible
It's
with PS5?
counterintuitive, but processing dense geometry typically consumes less power than processing simple geometry.
You
which
buy
is,
PS5, you
I
get
suspect, why
coronavirus.
Horizon's map screen,
Absolutely free.
with its low triangle count, makes my PS4 Pro heat up so much. Our process on previous consoles has been to try to guess what the maximum power consumption during the entire console lifetime might be, which is to say, the worst case scene in the worst case game, and prepare a cooling solution that we think will be quiet at that power level. If we get it right, fan noise is minimal. If we get it wrong, the console will be quite loud for the higher power games, and there's even a chance that it might overheat and shut down if we misestimate
Needs a
power
damn inhaler.
badly.
Where's Chad
PlayStation
Warner when
5
we
is
need him? He
especially
needs to defend the
challenging
PS5
because
here.
the CPU supports 256-bit native instructions. that
Even now,
consume
like my
a lot of
PS4, I
power.
left it on.
These are great
and
here and there.
It's got
but
asthma right
presumably
now.
Only minimally used.
I got a
Or
launch
are
day
they?
PS5,
If we
and it's
plan
kind of
for
starting to
major
get. I mean PS4,
256-bit
and it's starting to get there.
usage, we need to set the CPU clock substantially lower or noticeably increase the size of the power supply and fan. So after much
Why did
discussion,
they
we decided to
do
go with
this?
a very
Oh
different
my
direction on
God.
PlayStation 5. We built a GPU with 36 CUs. Mind
No
you, the
one
RDNA 2 CUs are
cares.
large.
Developers
Each has
care, but we
62% more
ain't
transistors than
developers.
CUs for
Developers,
users.
developers,
So, if we
developers.
compare
Not
transistor count,
If
general
this was meant for
consumers.
developers, this should have been behind closed
It
doors.
should have been for developers, developers,
It is a fairly sizable GPU.
not general public.
Then
I
we
have
went with a
edit.
variable frequency strategy for PlayStation 5, which is to say we continuously
I need to
run
stop
the
talking.
GPU
I'm
and
kidding.
CPU in
I need to
boost
let him
mode.
talk.
We supply a generous amount of electrical
You know what? I
power,
still have my
and then
my
increase the
PlayStation
frequency
on.
of
I'm just
GPU
gonna
and
start
CPU
playing
until they reach the
Remind with all the pro
capabilities
codes
of
on.
the
Yeah, do
system's
that.
cooling solution. It's a
I'll pay
completely
attention
different
so you don't
paradigm.
have to.
Rather than running at constant
No, I mean, I
frequency
still have the-
and
my,
letting
my
power
laptop
vary
screen on,
with the
so
workload,
I
we
can-
run
I
at
can still
essentially
see it.
constant power.
At least
and
they're
let the
advertising
frequency
via
vary
laptops.
based on the
At least
workload.
they're doing that.
We then tackled the engineering challenge of a cost-effective and high-performance cooling solution designed for that specific power level. In some ways, it becomes a simpler problem because there are no
I knew
more
when they said it's
unknowns.
going to be
There's
53
no
minutes.
need
I'm
to
like,
guess what
what
power
in the
consumption
heck is this going to
worst-case
be?
game might have.
I was so
As
skeptical
for the
with
details
that.
of the
And
cooling solution,
Got my-
we're
got my
saving
hopes
them
up for
for our
nothing.
teardown. I think you'll be quite happy with what the engineering team came up with. So, how fast can we run the GPU and CPU with this strategy?
oh, I don't know.
The simplest approach would be
Maybe
to
show
look
some
at the
games and then
actual
we'll find out.
temperature of the silicon die and throttle the frequency on that
So,
basis.
yeah, it's better to show,
But that
not
won't work.
tell.
It
Yeah.
fails to create a consistent PlayStation 5 experience. It wouldn't do to run a console slower simply because it was in a hot room.
Yeah.
So rather than look at the actual temperature of the silicon die, we look at the activities that the GPU and CPU are performing and set the frequencies on that basis, which makes everything deterministic
This is even worse.
and repeatable. While we're
I
at
have
it, we also use
now I have not a
AMD's
single
smart
idea
chip
what he's talking
technology
about.
and
Not a
sends
single
any
idea.
unused power from the CPU to the GPU.
Yeah,
so
I
it
gave
can
up a
squeeze
while
out
ago.
a few more pixels.
I was giving them a
Benefits
chance.
of this strategy are quite large.
He had his chance.
Running a GPU at 2 gigahertz was looking like an unreachable target with the old fixed frequency strategy. With this new paradigm, we're able to run way over that. In fact, we have to cap the GPU frequency at 2.23
funny.
gigahertz so that we can guarantee that the on-chip logic operates properly. 36 CUs at 2.23 gigahertz is 10.3 teraflops, and we expect the
Wow.
GPU to spend most of its time at or close to that frequency and performance. Similarly, running the CPU at 3 gigahertz was causing
Wow,
headaches
this is
with the
so
old strategy.
interesting.
But
I don't even know
now
what a
we can run it as
teraflop
high as
is.
3.5 gigahertz. In fact,
Teraflop,
it spends most of its
I
time
think.
at
I
that
think
frequency.
is how many.
That doesn't mean all games will be
floating
running at 2.23
compute
gigahertz and
units can be like
3.5
processed. I think
gigahertz.
that's what it
when
is.
that worst case game arrives, it will run at a lower clock speed, but not too much lower. To reduce power by 10%, it only takes a couple of percent reduction in frequency. So I'd expect
Frequency.
any downclocking to be pretty minor. All things considered, the change to a variable frequency approach will show significant gains for PlayStation gamers. The final of our three principles
finally,
was about finding new dreams. It's important for us on the hardware team to find new ways to expand or deepen
Maybe we'll get something here.
And that's what led us to a focus on 3D audio.
Oh, audio.
As players,
Frankly,
we
I doubt
experience the game through the visuals, through audio, and through the feedback we receive from the controller, such as rumble or
Maybe we
haptic.
could see it.
Personally, I feel a game is just
Show the
dead
controller,
without
and I
audio.
will pause this
Visuals
game right
are,
now.
of course, important, but the impact of audio is huge as well. At the same time, the audio team
Are they
on the
actually
game
going to hold a
project has
proper
to do a lot
PS5
with a
reveal, do you
little.
think?
For example,
You think
on
they're gonna do
PlayStation
that?
4, there's fierce competition
know.
for the Jaguar CPU cores. Audio typically ends up
Nah, I'm
getting
definitely
just
not going to do a live
fraction
stream
of a
next time
core.
they say that. I'm just going
That's
to
not
watch.
much of a
just gonna
computational resource.
hear about it later.
Particularly when you consider that the
I'm not going to wake
visuals
up
run
early. I'm just
30
going to
or
get up,
60 frames
lay
a
in my
second,
bed, and just
but
watch.
audio processing needs to happen at almost 200 times a second. So it's been tough going making forward progress on audio with PlayStation 4, particularly when PlayStation 3 was such a beast when it came to audio.
Beast.
The SPUs in Cell were almost
No,
a
it
perfect
wasn't.
device for audio rendering. Simple pipelined algorithms could really take advantage of asynchronous
You gonna
DMA
deny Mark
and
Cerney,
frequently
the,
reached 100%
system
utilization
architect
of the floating
over
point
here?
unit. There's unfortunately nothing comparable on PlayStation 4. Probably the most dramatic progress in the PlayStation 4 generation has been with virtual reality. The PSVR hardware has its own audio unit. It supports about 50 pretty decent 3D sound sources. And this provided a hint as to where we could go with audio, as well as some valuable experience. Not to
come on!
but here were our goals for audio.
They just did it to say, oh, we did good audio on
The
there.
first goal was great audio for everyone, not just VR users or soundbar owners or headphone users. That meant audio had to be part of the console. It couldn't be a peripheral.
I
The
literally
second goal was to
hate him
support
right now.
hundreds of sound sources. We didn't want
Oh my
developers to
God,
have to
I'm
pick
just
and choose
smiling.
There's
what sound
so
would
much.
get
There's
3D
so much
effect
hate in my
and which
heart
wouldn't.
for him.
I'm
We wanted
smiling
every sound in
because
the
I'm
game
just trying to get through it.
dimensionality.
Best I can.
And finally, we wanted to really take on the challenges of presence.
I
and
may be
vocabulary.
smiling a lot, but I'm miserable
Now, when
on the
we say
inside.
presence, we mean the feeling that you're actually there. You've entered the matrix. It's not, of course, something we thought we could perfectly achieve, but the idea was that if we stopped using just a rain sound and instead used lots of 3D audio sources for raindrops hitting the ground at all sorts of locations around you, then at some point your brain would take a leap and you'd begin to have
I got
this
headphones on.
feeling,
You could demonstrate it right now.
this
That'd be nice.
feeling of real
No?
presence inside the
Okay.
virtual world of the game. This has the capacity to affect your appreciation of the game, just like music in a game does. The concept of locality is simpler. It's just your sense of where the audio is coming from. To the right of you, behind you, above you. This can immerse you further in the game, and it can also
Fucking
direct you
locality, my guy.
to use Dead
They
Space
got
as an example.
locality.
I know, old school. You're fighting enemies in
This
fairly
is the
dark,
game
spooky
changer
locations.
right here.
Back in the day, if you played
Okay.
the games in the TV speakers,
Buy
you
a
could tell that
PS5,
the
we
sound
got
was
fucking
well,
buy
you know,
one.
down, but it was
locations, my
difficult to
guy.
tell quite where that was.
Initially, I was only going to buy
Headphones, you
one,
can
But
tell
now
that
I'm
the
gonna buy
enemy
I'm gonna buy
was somewhere
5
in the right, which
PlayStation
lets you
5s. That's what they
deduce
were
if you
trying to
couldn't
tell
see
me.
it. That
Five
must be somewhere
5 of them.
behind
We got
and to the
PlayStation
right.
10.
But with 3D
25,
audio
if we
with
do
locality,
multiples, sure.
The idea is
I
you
got
know
it.
the enemy is precisely there, and you turn and you take it out. So, how do we know where a sound is coming from in the first place?
Because there's speakers.
Well, all those bumps and folds in the ear have a meaning, evolutionarily speaking, based on what direction the sound is coming from.
This
sound
isn't
waves
biology.
We
change
know
in the
how
ear,
sound
there's some
works.
Constructive and
Oh
destructive
my
interference,
God.
and the result is a change in volume.
Why did you do
Frequency of the
this?
sound also shifts,
Like, you
depending on
listen
what
with your
path the
eyes.
sound
Like, who
wave
needs to be
took.
told
I got
that?
ears in my eyes, boy.
These
What do you
volume changes and
appeal
phase
to me?
shifts
Why
are
don't
different
you?
for each direction,
I got
and
an ear in the
also
back
vary
of my head. How am I
on the
going to deal with
frequency
this
of the
now?
sound.
Did you make it for
Head size
me?
and
Think that we're
also
idiots?
impact the sound in a similar fashion. The way that
Oh,
the sound changes
what is
based on
that?
direction and
What does
frequency
any
being
of that
included in a
mean?
table called
I'm
the
an audio guy,
Harmonic
and I have no
Transfer
idea what any of
or
that means.
HRTF.
Okay.
Here's part of one. The vertical axis is the frequency. The horizontal axis is the direction, front, back, left, right, and the color gives the degree of attenuation of the sound at that frequency. The HRTF is as unique to an individual as a
Oh
frequency is.
my
In fact,
God,
you're looking at mine.
man.
Here's how we measure an HRTF. We've taken hundreds of people through this process.
Oh, that one
We
picture.
put a microphone in the subject's left and right ear canals, and then sit the subject down in the middle of an array of 22 speakers. We then play an audio sweep from each speaker as we rotate
Is this
the
what we could
subject.
get with the PS5?
In the course of 10
Anybody
or
get a bunch
20
of fucking
minutes, we're able
speakers?
to sample the HRTF at over 1,000
Look at all that.
locations. Using an HRTF when rendering audio creates unparalleled
That's
quality,
true
but
gaming
it's
right there.
For real.
computationally expensive. The simplest
Did
way
you
to
see
use an
13
HRTF
Vessels
is to
tweet? That's funny.
process a sound source to make it appear as if it's coming from one of those
What, did he just send
1,000
out a tweet or
locations.
It's
something?
funny. Just look at it.
Unfortunately, the processing has to be done in frequency domain rather than time domain, so there's multiple fast Fourier transforms needed for every sound
Tetsuya
source for every
Nomura
audio tick.
doing some
That's
stuff.
a lot of multiplies. This computational complexity was the determining factor for our strategy. It meant we had to bite the bullet and design and build a custom
You mean
hardware
loving a
unit for
technical
3D
deep
audio.
dive? Oh, that's just
Collectively,
Nomura's
we
Yeah.
built a hardware unit and proprietary
Dude,
algorithms. we run
everyone's
on it
like
as
making fun of it because of that like
3D
serious
audio tech.
photo.
Yeah.
The meaning of 3D audio and technology should be pretty obvious here. As for Tempest, I feel it really
No, it's not
reflects
pretty
our
obvious.
goals
You-
with
you're
audio.
talking a bunch
it
of
suggests
garbled
a certain
shit. I don't
intensity
even
of
know.
experience and also hints at your presence.
I am
within.
literally going
We're
to
calling the
school
hardware
for
unit that we
audio
built the Tempest
technologies,
engine.
okay? And I
It's
have
based
no
on
idea what he's
AMD's
saying.
GPU technology. We modified
Classes were
a
supposed to be
compute
canceled
unit
this week,
in
man.
such a
Yeah.
way as to
I
make
could
it
have learned what
very
he was
close
talking
to
about,
the
but yet I
SPUs in
didn't.
PlayStation 3.
Yet I
Remember when
didn't.
I said that they were ideal for audio? So the Tempest engine has no caches.
We got
just
Tempest
like
on
an
PS5
SPU.
confirmed.
All
Can-
data access.
I'll
is
take
via
anything I
DMA,
can get.
Just like
We
an
got
SPU.
Tempest on PS5.
Our target was that it would have more power
It's a fun
than
game.
a CPU, thanks to the parallelism that
Pretty
a
dated,
GPU
but
can achieve,
hey,
and that it would be more
it's a fun
efficient
game.
than our GPU, thanks to the SPU-like architecture. The goal being to make possible near 100% utilization of the CU's.
This is
vector
going to be the
units.
weirdest
Where we
reaction
ended
video.
up is a unit with roughly the same SIMD power and bandwidth.
Yeah,
as
I'm
our
definitely
8
not gonna,
Jaguar
like,
cores in the PlayStation
Do
4
any
combined.
editing or
If we were to
anything.
use
Yeah, I'm
the
just
same
gonna upload it
algorithms
straight
as
up.
PSVR, that's
I'm just
enough
gonna
for
leave it
something
as
like
is with this live stream.
5,000 sound sources.
PS5
But of course,
fail.
we want to use more complex algorithms.
I didn't want to
and
go
we
to
don't need
school.
anything
That's what we
like
title it.
that number of sounds. It would have been wonderful if a simpler strategy, such as
It'd be wonderful
using
if we could
Dolby
show it.
Atmos peripherals, could have
I was about to
achieved
say,
our
it'd be
goals.
wonderful
It
if you
would
just
be
show the
so-
freaking
audio for
console.
all,
It would be wonderful
not just
101 if
those
you
with
just
licensed
show it.
soundbars or the like. Also, we wanted many hundreds of sound sources, not just the 32 that
Why
Atmos
didn't you
supports.
put a
And
disclaimer on the
finally, we
title,
wanted to be able to
GDC
throw an
presentation?
overwhelming amount of
That would have
processing
been
power at the
so-
problem, and it wasn't clear
so
what any
helpful.
peripheral might have
But you
inside it.
didn't.
In fact, with the Tempest engine, we've even got enough power that we can allocate some to the games.
Mark Cerney about to
the
get so
extent
much
that
hate.
games want to make use of convolution reverb and other algorithms that are either computationally expensive.
Yo, if he has a
or
Twitter,
need
let's just
high bandwidth.
bombard him.
The primary purpose of the Tempest engine. Now, 3D audio is a major
really shit.
academic research topic. It's safe to say that no one in the world has all of the answers. And the set of algorithms that has to be invented, tuned, or implemented to realize our vision for 3D audio is immense. For example, use of HRTFs in games is quite complex. Before, I talked about
I
making
hold
a
so
sound
much
source
contempt for
appear
you.
as
I
if
have
it's
so much
coming,
contempt for you.
from one of those 1,000 HRTF sample
Oh my
locations.
god,
But for
man.
high-quality 3D game audio, we have to handle other possibilities. The sound source might not be at one of the 1,000 HRTF
Did you do a
sample
pro code
locations,
run
so we have
yet
to
for
blend
Kingdom
I have not
HRTF
had time to
data
do
from the
like
closest
anything, like
locations
let
that
alone
we
play
have
games.
sampled. The sound source might be moving, which needs very special handling as that blend keeps changing, and that can cause phase artifacts in the resulting
Yeah,
audio.
I'm trying to make a meme
Or
here. and
the
you won't let
sound
me.
source might have a size to it, meaning it should feel as if it's coming from an area rather than a single point. There's also whole categories of approaches to be handled. 3D audio can be implemented using individual processing of 3D sound sources. But alternatively, ambisonics can be used for 3D audio. Ambisonics being somewhat like the spherical harmonics used in computer graphics. And finally, there's audio devices. The player might be using headphones or TV speakers or have a higher-end surround sound setup with 6 or more speakers.
This is just talking about
all
a
of which
gaming
need
setup
different
now.
approaches. That's
Are you
a lot of
are you gamer
variations.
enough to get
It's
a
nice to have
setup
the
capable enough to
computational
for the
resources of the
PS5,
Tempest
bro?
engine, but it's
Are you
clear
Yo, send a
that
pic of
gamer
your
enough?
setup, bro.
goals with 3D audio.
Send a
It's
pic
going
of your
to be a
setup, bro.
multi-year,
Yeah, I
step-by-step
ain't got no
process.
speakers or nothing like that.
Having
so.
said that, headphone audio implementation is largely completed.
I
this
literally
time.
just have a
It
TV.
I
was
have
a
some pretty
natural
good
place to
headphones,
start.
hey.
With headphones, we control exactly what each ear hears, and therefore the algorithmic
Yeah, those
development and
PlayStation 5
implementation
headphones,
is
Honestly-
more
they're nice, but
straightforward.
they're expensive.
For
Yeah, they
TV
are.
speakers
Honestly,
and
I
stereo
don't
speakers, we're in
like
the process
stereo
of
audio,
implementing
like weird
virtual
audio coming in
surround
each ear,
sound.
because it
The
just makes me
idea
feel weird.
being
I don't
that
know
if
what
you're
it was
sitting
about
in a
it.
sweet
I just
spot
like
in front of
mono
TV,
kind of signals.
then the sound can be made to feel as if it's coming from
Makes me
any
feel
direction,
weird.
even behind you. Virtual surround sound has a lot in common with 3D audio on headphones.
Yeah, Volt,
it's more
Volt edits.
complex because the left ear can
He
hear the
deals
right
with audio a
speaker
lot,
and
so
vice versa.
he's
We
actually
have
like
a
very
basic implementation
critical
of virtual surround
of audio.
sound up and
Okay.
running. We're now looking at increasing
makes
the
me feel
size of that
uncomfortable,
sweet spot, which is to
honestly.
say, making the area you need
Getting
to be
one
in to
signal in
feel
one
the
ear and
3D
not in
effect
another. It just
larger.
feels
And we're also
weird.
working to boost the sense of locality.
Locality.
Headphone audio is the current gold standard for 3D audio on PlayStation 5, but we're going to see what we can do to bring virtual surround sound.
Hopefully
to a
he's not too
similar
quiet
level,
for you guys.
After which, we'll start
'cause
in
I
on
think he
setups
might
with
be.
more speakers, such as 6-channel surround sound.
Oh, he's fine.
It's now to the point where some of the PlayStation 5 games in development are extensively using these
Extensively
systems.
shown.
One of the game demos
That's what I
allows
thought you were
to
gonna say.
toggle between
No.
conventional
I gave up
PlayStation
hope.
4
I gave up.
style
I
stereo
gave up.
audio and our new 3D audio.
I have hope.
I gave up.
I listened with just an
I was-
ordinary
I was- I
pair of
tried to have
over-the-ear
hope, but I'm
headphones,
dumb for
and
it.
Wow, I could feel a difference. 3D
Wow,
audio
I
has
could
that
feel a
dimensional
difference, dude.
feel to it. Conventional stereo audio feels smashed flat by comparison. The improvement is obvious. So, a big advancement, but have I entered the Matrix? Does my brain believe I'm really there?
You mean
like
the
I was talking
movie?
about earlier when I explained
We've entered
our
the
target
Matrix.
of present? Well, the answer is no.
Have I entered
but
the
you've
Matrix?
probably caught on to what's
What?
missing here, namely whose HRTF was being used. It wasn't mine. It was the default HRTF. The audio team analyzed the hundreds that they measured and chose the one they felt was the closest fit to the total gameplay audience. This shows a piece of the default HRTF on the left.
Nibbles like,
and
I
my
don't even know at this
HRTF on the
point.
right. You can see that the general features are much the same, but the details are quite different. With the default HRTF, as I said, the 3D audio sounds pretty great. When I use my HRTF, though, the audio reaches a higher level of
Oh my
realism,
goodness.
which is to say that when using headphones and my HRTF, I occasionally get fooled and even think a sound is coming from the real world when it's actually coming from the game. A corollary to this is that there are a few
corollary.
people whose
Fancy
HRTFs
words, how
are
about
sufficiently
that?
far from the default HRTF, that's the red dot here, that they can toggle between PS4 style and PS5 style audio and not sense much difference. I've had a few people describe the PlayStation 5's 3D audio as sounding like a bit better stereo audio. Presumably they're the ones at the very edges of this diagram. Which means what HRTF you're using is key. I'd like everyone to be able to experience what I'm experiencing, but obviously
really
it's
feels
not
like it was
possible to
for the
measure
developers.
It was
HRTF
for the
of every
developers, but they
PlayStation user.
canceled it, so they
That
had
means
no choice.
HRTF selection and synthesis are going to be big topics going forward as the Tempest technology matures. At PlayStation 5 launch, we'll be offering a choice of 5 HRTFs. There's a simple test where you pick the one that gives you the best locality. That's just the first step, though. This is an open-ended research topic. Maybe you'll be sending us a photo of your ear, and we'll choose a neural
Why would you
network
do that?
closest
Send you a photo of our ear.
PS5.
Maybe you'll be sending us
PlayStation
a
ear
logic
fetish.
of your
Why
ears
would
and your
we do
head,
We are
and we'll make
feeding
a
Mark
3D
Cerny's ear
model of them
fetish.
and synthesize the HRTF.
He's
Maybe
probably got
you'll
some
play
weird
an audio
fetishes
game
knowing who
to
he is.
tune
But
your HRTF. We'll be subtly changing it as you play and home in on the HRTF that gives you the highest score, meaning that it matches you the best. This is a journey we'll all be taking together over the next few years. Ultimately, we're committing to enabling
finally
everyone
revealed
to
the PS5
experience
after
that
it's
next
released.
level of realism.
Like,
Hopefully,
hey, it's a
I've been able
surprise.
to illustrate a bit about our design and decision-making process today, and why PlayStation 5 has the feature set that it does. Now comes the fun part. We get to see how the
fun
development
part.
community takes
Please.
advantage of that feature set.
Please.
I'm hoping for the completely unexpected. Will it come from audio, ray tracing,
Unlike
the
this.
capabilities
Unlike
of the
this.
SSD, or something else?
Oh,
I guess we'll
completely
find out
unexpected
soon.
in terms of not doing anything.
Thank you for your time.
No, thank you for wasting my time. Oh my god, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Oh my god.
Oh
that
my
was literally it.
god. That was. Why did they do that?
That's an hour of my life I will never get back.
What? What? What did I just watch? I just watched a GDC presentation, and they didn't tell me that it was gonna be that. Why did they not make that clear?
I hold so much contempt.
They fucked up, man. They fucked up with this.
Chat is going crazy on the PlayStation.
I'm looking at it too. So
No one is happy.
Bro, what I got from this is that I can listen to rain and there's some locality in it. And they got a fast ass SSD. That's
You're
it!
still on that locality.
Because that is the one feature that will save this locality, my guy. Wow. Wow.
That was awful.
Oh my, that was what? They had to have known. They had to have known what they were doing.
They should have known.
They knew, but they didn't anyways because they're stupid. Oh no, I'm so scared. They may have just given Xbox the biggest fucking victory ever. They really just did because they showed the hardware. They showed everything inside it. They showed people constructing it. They gave a diagram. They gave everything, but they gave nothing here. We got numbers. Okay, cool. But what the fuck does it look like? Oh my god. I'm so mad.
My disappointment is immeasurable
And
my day is ruined.
I am with Review Bro on that one. Oh my god, man. This just set Sony back a fuck ton in the race, man.
It's 10 o'clock and I love mornings and I hate wasting mornings. And guess what I just did?
Yeah. Okay. So I am so much more hyped for Xbox now.
Oh.
Xbox just won the biggest fucking victory. They need to take advantage of this. They need to show the games. They need to show it running on real hardware. They need to go all out now. Because Sony just fucked up. Big time.
Really did.
Big time.
They really did.
This is...
PlayStation had practically 60,000 people watching.
And at the start, it was 300,000 people. At the start, it was 350,000 people. Now it's...
And it just dropped to 46,000.
Well, I mean, the stream ended.
I mean, yeah, it's over.
I think it was ended at like 80 or something like that. Holy shit, dude. They fucked up. Xbox is about to win. Nibble says won't buy PS5 because apparently just smart people shaking my head. Yeah. Xbox. Sony just fucked up big time.
Are you typing that in the chat?
I'm typing that on Twitter. Okay, that's where I'm going to end this recording here. Oh my god, what a waste of fucking time that was.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm going to end this live stream here,
Yeah,
dude.
sorry. I got to go, guys. I'm getting in the stream here, guys. Bye-bye.